Aristotle, the great philosopher, is quoted as saying, "All men, by nature, desire to know." And this is a part of who we are as human beings, made in the image and likeness of God. We reflect God, who is knowledge, the source of all knowledge, from which all things that are knowable, intelligible, flow, and that we, as reflections of Him on earth, we seek to understand. We seek to know things, ultimately to know Him. There's a wonder that stimulates us when we encounter the world around us, when we encounter nature. It's a wonder that causes us to seek out the reasons for things and their interactions and their very existence around us. We call this science. Personally, I'm a great fan of science. Many of you may know I have an undergraduate degree in engineering, a Bachelor of Science. So often people will say then, well, how can you be a priest and also a scientist at the same time? What does science and religion have to do? Aren't they opposed to each other? And it's apropos here in our community, very good engineering school here in its own right. How does science and religion fit together? Well, that's the question I hope we can answer today as we reflect on the Epiphany and on these wise men. In order to answer that question, let's look at our gospel today. We see the three magi coming from Persia to greet the newborn child. Now, still to this day, we really don't know what the word magi or magoi in Greek that Matthew uses really means. Some say it means king. We say the three kings, or wise men, the three wise men, has been popularized, perhaps. But some believe that it also might mean scientist. Whatever the true meaning is, we know for a fact that they were at least scientists of the stars, or as we might call them, astronomers. Perhaps maybe intermingled with that other pagan study of the stars, astrology, where like so many others, they looked up to the heavens for clues to those questions that each and every one of us has written on our hearts that we can't answer, we can't see in any laboratory, under any microscope, or solve through any equation. Who are we? Where did we come from? How did we get here? These scientists who studied the night sky with great diligence began to notice something different, a new star. Indeed, being wise men as they were, even though they themselves were not Jews, they knew of the Israelite prophecy that a star would arise in the east and announce the coming of the Messiah. They knew very well the Israelite culture. In fact, that's where the Israelites lived during the exile. They lived in Persia, Babylon. And so they knew about the Jews and their beliefs, and they knew about science. And peering into the night sky, they realized also that no man-made power could do this. No man could control the stars. That there had to be a higher power at work, even though they didn't really know what it would be. But with that childish wonderment that all of us at one point in our lives had, a desire to know, the desire that defines us as human beings, they left their homelands, left everything, and followed that star in search of not only where it led them, but to what they believed they would find, its source. And what do they find when they arrive in Judea? A newborn baby, an infant. St. Matthew captures something quite spectacular at the moment they encounter the Christ child. Upon entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother. They prostrated themselves and did him homage. Those two sentences alone encapsulate all we need to know of the gospel. Their wonder, everything that had led them on this journey to seek out the knowledge of what was behind this great phenomena, this great light in the sky, in an instant turned to amazement. And don't we all experience this? Maybe if you've forgotten, watch your children working on some difficult problem, some homework assignment, some puzzle, something. As they struggle to put it together, even in our own lives, we struggle. We think those evil thoughts. We say those words we're not supposed to as we're trying to put these pieces together and make it all work. And then it happens. We find that solution. It comes together, that last puzzle piece. That wonder that we had of what will it look like? Will it work? Does it all fit? Turns to amazement in its realization. On a child's face, joy, happiness. The Magi falling prostrate before Christ take the sense of amazement that we've all felt at some point in our lives and take it one step further. Not only are they amazed at what they find, to where the star has been leading them, knowing that their journey is now over, but they realize that this child, this baby, is in fact God. And we know this by the gifts that they've given him. They knew this wasn't just any baby, but that this was God. And that the star revealed to them not a destination, as many people use the stars to guide and lead up until our very own modern day. Use the stars in the night sky to navigate, to direct. But they realized that the star led them to a person who was the reason for the star's existence in the first place. Not just a coordinate on a map, not just a crib in Bethlehem of Judah. And in that crib, they saw the intersection of Creator and creation right before their eyes. So not only do they fall prostrate, which literally means towards the ground, falling on their face, falling in complete humility, but they did him homage. They worshiped. These pagans, these non-Jews, these non-believers, they worshiped. And this is the key we must all learn from the Magi's visit. This is what the Epiphany is all about. It's about God's revelation to us. Literally, he who is the source of all things, the source of all knowledge, the source of all, is made known to us, has revealed himself to us, manifested right there, right before our eyes. As Isaiah said in our first reading, "Rise up in splendor, Jerusalem, your light has come." The darkness that is the limit of what we can possibly know on our own is illuminated with the knowledge of the infinite God there in the crib. It's always interesting to hear, and really comical, to hear about the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries as a period of enlightenment, supposedly taking us out of the dark ages of thought. Referring to how educators and thinkers and even theologians have now, by abandoning revelation, abandoning religion, are now freed to see the light of truth. That whatever we can see and learn in those laboratories under the microscope, that's truth, that's knowledge. But in such closed-mindedness, really, we lose all discussion of God's grace, discussion of the human soul. Even God himself becomes worthless fodder just to be cast off, not discussed, a waste of time. Instead, most academia, most sciences per se, have moved on to accepting chance or randomness to explain creation of earth or even human beings. Doctors have made various conclusions about human life and its very beginnings based on what they can see in a microscope in a laboratory. Ethicists try to compel good decisions based on whatever feels right. since right and truth are abstract concepts that none of us can agree on anyway, so just do what you want. It's okay. Simply what has happened is we have, as an educated society, have gone from stargazing as the Magi of old, looking for truth and answers in the heavens, to looking down. And instead of prostrating ourselves, humbling ourselves, and worshiping God, I make up a term if I can, we've instrated. We've stuck ourselves in the sand. We've stuck our head into ourselves, concerned only what we want, what we think, what we want truth to be. And with our heads stuck below the sand, below the surface, we only care about what we want, only to miss God right there in the manger, right before our eyes. We fail to be amazed and to see him before us. So I go back to where we started. What does science have to do with religion? Religion is the point of science. All knowledge, all things we learn, build us up to that point to be able to receive and understand God as he is. Theology is a science, the ultimate goal of all the other sciences. We do this all the time. All knowledge builds on itself. We can't properly study chemistry, physics, medicine without first understanding arithmetic, mathematics. We have to build, and ultimately we build our knowledge of the sciences, even philosophy, to get to the goal of truth, he who is truth. Because none of the empirical, none of the physical sciences, none of the earthly sciences can ever answer these very fundamental questions. Where did we come from? Why do we exist? What is the purpose of creation? No experiment, no equation will ever answer those questions. These are questions that surpass the sciences and require that higher level of knowledge. This is called revelation. Not something we could ever know on our own, but something that had to be told to us, had to be revealed to us, had to be manifested to us to quench our desire, the desire we all have to know. The Magi allowed their understanding of the stars to lead them to the truth, to lead them to Christ. Every single day, God is revealing himself to all of us. Every single day is a great epiphany where all of us can reach out and see and know God more and more as he reveals himself to us. If we seek with wonder, if we seek with excitement that gift, that reality of God here present in our midst. But if we bury our heads in the dirt, if we bury our heads in the sand, and we only care about ourselves and what we want, we'll miss him. The Magi didn't have to look and wonder what that bright star in the sky meant. They could have been like Herod and only cared about their power, only cared about themselves, and missed the sign right there. So can we. We can make the same mistake in our day. God is revealing himself to us so that we might know him, serve him, and love him. Seek the Lord in your life. And like the Magi, be prepared when you find him. Be prepared to be knocked down to the ground in amazement, giving him homage. Not gold, frankincense, or myrrh, but what he's always wanted. The reason he created, what he's always wanted from the beginning, is you. He wants you and has revealed everything so that you might want him in return.